Hello and welcome to this live stream on Webpiano Academy. Today we will talk with Broker about how to grow on social media as a music professional. We talked with you a while ago. I think it was about 1.5 years ago, about. Yeah, and you were you had already started at that point to work on social media, and I think you already had a piano course that you were selling at that point, and you were growing your own business as how's it called? Social media facilitator for music professional. I don't know how to call it. That's a new type of profession, I guess.
Yeah, that's a way to describe it. Yeah.
Yes, and I saw you growing over time with new posts and new ideas and new projects. So can you tell us about how you develop yourself at first from that point, from the last interview to today?
Yeah, so like I said, like you said, I got started with teaching piano and selling piano courses online. And so that was really great. When you're selling a piano course, you want to create a lot of content around piano, and I was just finding it at the time very hard to keep up with my piano practice because I have 2 little kids, and they were even younger than babies. Now they're more like toddlers, and so I was a few of my friends asked me, how are you getting these students on social media, how are you doing your course, etc. So I started just helping them, and I found that I really enjoyed it because however much I love teaching piano and I'm still so passionate about music, I fell in love with like the behind the scenes of that. So the actual strategy of selling it. So I just really enjoyed the selling of it and the social media of it even more. And I felt like I've really found my groove. And also by that point, I'd already been teaching for about 7 to 8 years, and it was just getting hard with having 2 very young kids. So then I started, I got some clients for that, and I gave them a very low price, and just started testing that out, and then it went really well, and I really enjoyed it, and they started seeing great results and really learning from the different things. And then I found it, I was just really enjoying doing it. And then from there, that's what I've been doing full time. So I had to, with regret, stop selling my piano course for a while. Like, it's still available on request, and there's still the login for all my current, all the students that bought it, and they are still getting really nice results from it and still really enjoying it. But yeah, I've got 2 little kids. It's hard enough to juggle work, and I've made my systems work really well for me, but to juggle 2 businesses was almost too much. Yeah,
it is. Don't tell me about that. Even just having a YouTube channel and my academic career and my piano classes, it's a lot. It's just like
like people underestimate how hard content creation is, right? It's a very time-consuming job.
It is.
But it's very, very worth it, and I really enjoy it, and I feel more creatively fulfilled than I've ever felt. It's a very creatively fulfilling position as well. Plus, I literally get to meet the most amazing clients and the most amazing people through my work. So even though I'm not doing so much of my music and creativity teaching, I'm still working with a lot of musicians and creatives and even health professionals, some in the music field, some not. I think health and music and all the creative fields are very much related.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing since we spoke last, and it's been a journey since then. And it's and I'm looking forward to see where I'll go further as well.
Yeah, I was watching your webinar the other day, and I found it very interesting. There are a lot of things that I already do, and then I follow you on Instagram anyway, so that's I learned a lot from you. So thank you.
Oh, amazing! Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
and so now let's imagine that somebody's watching this interview, and this person will be interested in growing online as a musician. We often think that, I don't know, I see a lot of my colleagues posting their own piano playing, and they play the piano, and then they play the piano, and then they play the piano again, and they play the piano again, and all the videos are about themselves. And I find that this is not really productive in terms of social media, because once they see you playing the piano once, twice, three times, that should be probably enough. Unless you want to really sell that piece online, I don't know, but for other reasons. But in terms of growing an audience, or even get clients to book lessons with you or work with you in some other ways, it is mostly not so really productive. So how would you suggest that this person would, should improve the social media side of the business?
I love that. That is such a great question. I would say maybe that is the biggest question we need to answer and get clear on to see any success. So the main thing is that we want to have content that is carefully planned for each part of the customer journey, from finding you to buying from you, and also really building a brand, right? And a brand is multifaceted. A brand needs to have personality. A brand needs to have a story, a journey. It needs to have you in it. So we want to get very clear on, like, what is the purpose of this account? Are you going to be, there's kind of two types to do it. There's two ways of doing it. There's more like the influencer way, and in this case it might be the performer's way, or there's more the educators, coaches, teacher, business owner way, where our focus is different, and the metrics we need to track as well are different. So, for example, you can see that my Instagram, I don't have a huge following, yet I work in social media all day, every day. Why don't I do that? Because my focus and my metrics are different. Some of my clients have really big followings, and I help them leverage that as best as possible for their goals. But we have different goals, we have different metrics we need to track, and we need to start from the place of what is the goal, right? So once you've decided on the goal that you want it to, let's say, get students. So even if you are doing it as a performer's approach, you want to, let's say, for example, you want to simply book more performance gigs, or like one of my clients, he wants to book more speaking gigs on his topic, then you still want to do the same thing. It's still about building the brand. So performer is not exactly like influencer, but even with influencers, we always want to have different content, so different angles of content. So one of my biggest things, and the core of what I do, and is on the webinar, is on my Instagram, is on all my blogs, etc., is that the 4 types of content, I've categorized them over time into 4 types of content. And to make it easy to remember, it all starts with an S.
Yeah.
And there's lots of variations of it, but I found this particular one to really summarize it a lot and really make building out a customer journey a lot easier. So that is serve, self, social proof, and sell. So you want to have content that is valuable and helpful. Now, valuable can be valuable in different ways. It can be entertaining, it can be educational, it can be motivational, it can be inspirational. But we want it to be of service to our audience. We want to put our audience first. What do they need to hear today? So, for example, when I'm in the serve category, I think about what does my audience need to hear? And they don't just want inspiration or motivation or humor. They want actual practical tips, right? Sometimes maybe it's about mindset, because that's a really big thing. Or sometimes motivational, inspirational, because we all need that boost. But you really want to think about, how can I serve my audience or my ideal audience, even if you don't have them quite yet, how can I serve them best? And if you think of that, you will attract them, right? Then the next thing is self. So you really want to be sharing your journey. So you're not just this like random person out of nowhere, just like being on your soapbox and saying this, that, and the other, right? Like that's great, but we need to build that brand as well, because that's how you build that trust. That's how you turn from some stranger on the internet to the perfect teacher, to the perfect speaker, to the perfect performer that your ideal client, student, or customer is looking for, right? So the main ways I like to share self is just sharing your story. So like me, sharing my story of how I turned from piano teacher to social media coach. When I was a piano teacher, I shared my story a lot of how I turned from classical piano player to really falling in love with playing easy pop songs and improvising, right?
Right.
So, and there's lots of different ways you can share that. You can share big picture journeys, you can share small. So my big picture would be, let's say, how I went from piano teacher to social media coach. A small part of my journey would be, this week, something of how I balanced, or something I did with a client this week, or some tools I've just started using now, right?
Yeah.
And the different categories can interact. And then thirdly, so you really want to share about yourself, even just your opinions is a really good one to share. Just really let them into your world and let them know who you are as a person. And you don't need to share your whole life. Like, I'm not about that at all. And then social proof, people need social proof, especially online. Like, look at Amazon reviews. I don't know about you, but I always buy the one with the most reviews. We need that. So just making sure you're incorporating social proof in different ways. And then sell. So this is a part where so many people miss out. They spend so much time educational and building their brand, but they're not actually giving their audience the next step. So the next step doesn't need to be buy my thing. It can be get on my email list. It can be book a call with me. It can be just comment. It can be just join my Facebook group. But you always want to be giving a next step. Sometimes you're just going to be focusing on the brand building, so you're not necessarily giving a next step, but you should know when the next time you're going to be giving a next step is, basically. So yeah, I know that was quite a long monologue there, but that is just something I'm so passionate about, because once you have these 4 things, then your brand is so powerful, and it's not about the amount of followers you have, even though that can help if you have the specific goals, but it's about building a beautiful customer journey that attracts and converts clients consistently from social media. So you're not like, I know I got a client last month, but I have no clue if anything happened this month. Like, that's not what we want. It's about building that predictability, and having that last step as well really helps with that.
Right. I followed a few people on Instagram, and then I started noticing how I follow. I started reflecting on my journey as from the other side. How do I follow? Why do I follow these people? And what I usually do is, for example, I follow an attorney who is posting videos, short tips about how to communicate to others in general, right? And then after a year now, he's writing a book. So what attracted me to his profile was his consistency in posting these small tips about how to improve your communication skills, how to improve the way that you create rapport to another person, all those other things that I was interested in. and then he kept being consistent in these tips.
Yeah.
So he built in a year a lot of a huge following, and now it's coming at the selling part. He's writing a book, so this book is going to be sold to his audience. And I started reflecting, how do I follow? Why do I follow them? What is the reason for me to follow these people? And this is, I think, the first step. What type of audience I would like. What is my avatar of the audience, and who is the person who will actually want to have this type of content, and how many people really would like to have this type of content. I mean, if I'm posting only things about chord progressions, that hard time, probably it's and maybe chord progressions just for piano. I mean, there might be an audience for that, but then the audience is limited too. So I might want to know exactly what I'm going to do and then what type of journey I'm going to build around that audience, what type of products I'm going to sell them, and what are they interested in. So what would they like to see in me that I am actually, because authenticity, I think, is the first thing that we should portray. I mean, if I would imitate you, I would never be successful in anything, because exactly. You are you and I am a different person, right? I have a different journey, yes. So in terms of audience, right? How do you, when I was watching your webinar, my thought was, who is actually my audience? And I have, obviously, I have my piano studio, I have my, I perform, and I do music theory and all those things. And I think in branding things, you should just define who is your audience, to what type of audience is actually.
Oh, that's my dog. Since we last spoke, we got a puppy, so.
Oh, that's good. We welcome your dog to our live stream.
Come on, Charlie, what are you doing? Well, that's something you can know about me, is I have a dog and 2 little kids. And
I do have a dog too, so.
Obviously about right. Yeah, so okay, I'm going to see if he quiets down. If not, I'll get him. But yeah, sorry, what were you saying before we were interrupted?
So I was saying, how do you define your own audience? What are the criteria that you should look at? Because I think that's important too, because sometimes we start doing random things and then we don't know exactly, why we are doing those things. We try to please a lot of people, but, maybe we please nobody at that point.
Yeah, so it's very much about who do you want to work with? And you don't always need to know everything straight away, but you do want to be as clear on it as you can. So I don't believe in, going crazy over, they live here and they do this and at this age. It's more about where are they starting? Where do they want to go? And what's stopping them from getting there that you, with your personal journey, experience, and skills, can help them get there. So if you can answer those 4 questions, you should be good to go, or at least start with, and then refine as you go, because you want to be consistently asking yourself those 4 questions. And the beauty of social media is that we have so much ability to evolve and progress. So you can do that as well. But you want to think about, where are they starting? Where do they want to go? And what's stopping them from getting there, and how you can help them. You also want to think about, what do I want to sell? Do I want to sell courses? Do I want to sell just lessons? Do I want to teach locally? Do I want to teach internationally? Etc. So you want to think about practical things like that as well. And then you also want to make sure it's a market that does have a big enough problem, because you want to make sure it's a profitable market. So making sure it's a profitable market is it a vibrant space? So is there vibrant competition, right? If competition is a good thing. If there's no competition, then of course you can get really specific and stand out from the competition, but competition is a good sign. And then you don't want to be trying to explain novel concepts. And then also like kind of what prices are people paying? Are people like interested, or is it a very big thing for them? So for example, a regular person like learning chord progressions, they could be very interested in it. But let's say a concert pianist who needs better technique, and you can coach them privately on that, they could be very invested in that because that's their whole career.
Right.
Or if you're like the example given before, like a health coach, are you gonna, there's the difference of talking about something that maybe is nice to have, or you can work on things that are even bigger, like improving sleep or improving nutrition. Or so you can get specific, but you just want to make sure that it's viable, it's a thriving market, and that it's a big enough problem.
Right. Yeah. I think that's always the issue, is to find the problem you want to solve, that you have the solution for that, or half of the solution at least, a little bit.
Yeah, or 10%, whatever it is. Like you can't solve the full solution of anything. Yeah. Anyway, everything's always a constant process, But exactly, the problem, find the problem. I think you said it so beautifully. Find the problem that you want to solve with the people that you want to work with.
Right. Yes. So now, in terms of authenticity, right? I see a lot of people just imitating each other around on social media and then posting the same things over and over again. And then at one point you say again, same thing again, and the other person is doing the same thing in the same type of content. You find a lot of repetition of content from different people who are trying to build a following. But I think the most important thing in building a following is to be authentic, to be yourself, and to be really the person you are for real, and not, you cannot really go with the flow and then say, okay, because at one point that is going to end, like all trends. And instead you have to survive. So it is better to remain you, to be yourself. So how do you craft, or how can I say that? How can you craft a brand around yourself? Is there something specific that you can do to just...
Yeah, I love that. That's such a big thing. And you know what? I think the answer is actually, learning how to be authentic online and be yourself online is actually a skill, right?
Yeah.
And again, you don't have to share every single detail of your life. Like I don't share my kids. I don't share a lot of my life's journey. I just share what I feel comfortable sharing, and what I enjoy sharing. But it is a skill. And the reason I'm so passionate about my 4-step framework of serve, sell, social proof, and self is because that gives you the frameworks to be yourself in many different ways. So let's say in serve, you can be yourself in your teaching style. You can share your teaching style. So for example, my teaching style is very straight to the point, very system-based, but also quite intuitive, looking at the numbers, but also really looking at the big picture as well, right? Mm-hmm. With self, you share your journey, you share your different mindsets, opinions. So I think learning how to be yourself authentically online is not about just sharing every little detail and being uncomfortably vulnerable or doing things you don't want to do. And it's not something that you can just decide to do one day. It's actually an acquired skill. And when you have a good content coach who helps you find your voice, so one of the big things of my brand is I help you find your voice. It was a big part of my journey, was finding my voice on social media, which connected me with such amazing people, yourself included. So you need a strategy. You need to know how to be a content creator, to be authentic. And the better content creator you become, and the more you refine your skills as a writer, as YouTube video creator, as TikTok creator, the better you get at being your true, authentic brand.
Yeah. You know, when I started my YouTube channel, I had no clue about how to make a video and how to edit a video. I didn't know how to film, the lighting, everything was obscure.
Yes.
And what I did was I asked around, I looked around, I watched videos, I read a lot of things about, you know, how to make those things. But then I started with some templates, and I started following certain templates that somebody else has already done before. So I thought, okay, so I have no idea how to do that. I have no idea who I'm going to be in that type of situation and how I'm going to manage this type of things. And for me, it was almost like moving to a different country, right? So when I came here to the States, it was the same thing. So I was nobody, and I needed to find my own voice in a different context. So in that context, I started by using templates that somebody else had already used. And I said, okay, so that's my template. That's the thing that people do. And within that template, I started developing my own way of doing things, of sharing things, of putting the video together, of editing the video. And then I think I'm finding my own style along the way and sharing my own things. So I'm not imitating, how to play this, how to play this, how to play this, because that's not my main point. I'm not that person who just tell you what to do at the piano. My interests are in music theory and musicology and music and semiotics and all those other things. So I want to bring that farther, to my audience instead of just only the piano. So because that's my main interest. So I thought, okay, if I imitate all these people making piano videos, I'm never going to be myself. So, I started just adding my scientific point of view to the videos so that at least it reflects who I am as a person, as a content creator. And then, then the audience will find me if they're interested in that type of content. I think that's finding a template. If you don't know where to start with, finding a template and finding some patterns that somebody else has used before, and then adding that pattern to your own personality and who you are as a person is just, I think, a great way to find your authenticity in social media, as in life, and yeah,
I couldn't agree more. That is such a great practical tip, and it was one of the things that helped me find my voice and actually give my clients so many templates, not for them to just like copy. Some of them are very easily adaptable, so you can kind of copy them but still automatically sound like yourself. So I actually give my clients templates for everything because I couldn't agree more. It's just such a practical step, and when you're like actually writing using templates, you get to understand it in a way that just the concept of it you get to understand on a deeper level because you're literally working in that. So you really get to see parts of like the sales process or sales psychology or marketing or brand building. So I love that. And actually it made me think, because I don't really have so many freebies on that, but maybe for your audience I can create a freebie with some templates that they can use to take up right now, like as soon as we get this up.
Yeah, I will post that in the description below. So
yeah, I'll get you a link for you to put in the description, so your clients, not clients as well, your watchers really see what we mean in real time.
Yeah,
like I literally had someone that took one of my freebies, one of my templates. I gave as a bonus some templates when I did a workshop, and he got a sale from just one of them. So yeah,
I see that Charlie wants to interact with us as well.
Yeah. Okay, so to finish off, then do you have any main questions or any main topics? But I feel like we covered such important points.
Yes. So, first of all, thank you so much for being with me here on this live stream today. And I mean, how can you tell us how to get in touch with you if somebody's interested in working with you as a social media coach?
I'm actually working on my new website, so that is not available currently, but when it is, I'll give you the link for the description. I'm on Instagram at I am Brocha, so that's IAMBROCHA. I'm on Facebook under Brocha Kahan. You should find that easily. And then I'll also give you, to put in your description, a link to the webinar we were talking about, and then also the extra bonus free resource, which I'm going to get set up for you, as soon as of the templates. So those will be the best way. I send out a weekly newsletter, so when you sign up either for the webinar or that, I can even give you a link to the newsletter. So I also have a newsletter, and then I'm mostly active on Instagram, but Facebook is my favorite platform, but that's a story for another day.
Okay, maybe we will have another interview later. And
like platforms, because that's a big discussion.
So you're located in the UK, but where exactly? London.
I'm in Manchester, which is a few hours away from London.
Yeah, I've been there. Beautiful. It was rainy, but it's okay.
Well, we actually have quite nice weather today, but it's not been the best summer, so.
Okay.
Union on without talking about the weather.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being with us today. Have a nice afternoon in Manchester, and I hope to see you next again in one of the next live streams on this channel.
Yeah, I hope to do it again very soon. Thank you so much again for having me on again. It was such a pleasure, and also nice to reconnect with you and your amazing audience. And we covered such great topics. Thanks for being such an amazing host and really allowing me to share something that I'm so passionate about and love so much. And that's something that you're so well involved with and such an inspiration with as well.
Thank you so much. And so to the next time then.
Yeah.
Bye.